What is up, everybody? Welcome to The Stack. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And on The Stack, we talk about a bunch of books that have come out this week, and we've got a big heap and stack of flapjacks for you this week.
What?
Jack Stack.
Jack Stack.
Jack for the stack.
Jack for the stack. And we are pretty jacked to be talking about TVA #1 from Marvel, written by Katharyn, Blair, art by Pere Pérez. This is mixing the peanut butter of the Marvel Comics universe with the chocolate of the MCU. Very specifically, we got Spider-Gwen front and center, pivoting out of her current continuity in her own title. She's working for the TVA, but not just any TVA. This is the TVA straight out of the Loki TV series. They even make reference to the events of the Loki TV series. And I'll tell you what, just from like a global overview, I am totally stunned this has not happened before this way. Like, we've had MCU books that are like Fury's Bad Day, and it's mostly recapping things that happened before and doesn't actually, there's no ongoing continuity. To have something that really is like, yeah, there's the Marvel Comics universe and the movie universe, and they are adjacent to each other, the multiverse and cross together, makes total sense. It's now taken years and years to actually get there.
See, that's
It's funny you say
TVA stands for television.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Television and
comics.
It's funny you say that, Alex, because I don't think there's a lot of other things where they could do this. This, I feel like, is a very unique use case.
I mean, this is the
They could do it
setting it in the
TV
TVA,
shows.
which is the crossroads of the multiverse. Yes, that lifts a level of difficulty there, I guess. But come on, people cross over all the time for no particular reason. So,
But I think it makes it in another book that doesn't have this sort of very easy premise where they can all just walk into a room together. You have to do so much work that it kills a lot of the fun for both sides of the fandom that are approaching it. TV fans are like, "What's all this?" And the comic book fans are like, "I don't want my peanut butter over there. I want my peanut butter in my mouth."
Well, see, let's
I
talk
think I'm
about
making
that.
a good case.
No, I'm going to pivot off of this. Let's talk about that. Do you want to put this comic in your mouth, as we always say? Pete?
I have. Mouth it.
It ruins the quality of the reading material.
So mouth it or south it, Pete? That's what
South it.
South it means put it in your butt. Just to be
no.
clear.
Well, then
That's
bag and
south.
board it. Let's bag and board it and
First.
be
Or south it.
respectful
It's
of
too
the
late.
art.
We've been doing that for 18 years. Mouth it or south it.
Mouth it or south it, they say. Coming soon to Spike TV in 1997.
Should we start talking about this comic, though?
What did you think, Pete? What did you think?
Well,
Yes.
TV or not TV?
This is kind of fun. I thought this was great art. Awesome
Sick.
to see
So
OB.
it made it like about as far as your belly button is what you're saying.
Peggy's always great. But I'm not sure what's real and what's a dream, spoilers with where it kind of ends. So I wasn't sure if that was a waste or cool. And then the backup
Waste or cool?
was kind of mean and weird. So I didn't like that either.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Sounds like this was closer to south than mouth for you. What about you, Justin?
I like this. I feel like Spider-Gwen at the forefront is good because she's a character that I think would aggravate the TVA's modus operandi, so it's nice to have her there. And I think this is a very well done version of combining these two universes. This sort of service to the MCU stuff, I was like, okay, but I don't need all of this. This is basically just Exiles, but with characters that are more recognizable. Exiles, a book I really like. A premise I really like. So this being here and maybe getting more eyeballs on it is fun. I'm on board.
Yeah, I enjoyed a lot of this. I do feel like a lot of the lift of let's just go and do it, like you're saying, was the best part. Like Captain Carter, there's no explanation. It's just like, oh, hey, it's Captain Carter. You love her. And she doesn't have to be like, I've just come from the Watcher. We're me and Cohorty. We're friends, blah, 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 blah. None of that happens. It's just
God.
she's cool. Let's go.
I don't even want to think about those words.
And it's sort of the same thing with Miss Matters. Well, not Miss Matters. What's
Miss
the name?
Minutes?
Miss Minutes. Oh my God, my brain is not working correctly today.
Oh, for those of you listening, Alex writes a Miss Manners column for the New York Post, where he answers questions about where the
it's mainly
fork
how to
goes.
maintain his white gloves so everything stays pristine.
Most of my advice is how to take your life from south to mouth.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, boy.
Alex is the Mrs. Doubtfire of the Manners set.
Euphigenia Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Excuse
It was
me.
a drive-by fruiting. Good night.
There's a lot of characters that are very fun in here. It's nice seeing Hunter B-15. It's nice seeing this character that they're playing very coy about being Sylvie for some reason, which is weird. And Obi and all of those other characters.
Yeah, it was great seeing Obi. Come on.
I do think some of the action, like you're saying, in terms of it being a dream or not, is a little confusing in this issue in terms of leaps of where it's going.
What's
but maybe it'll be
what's
cleared up.
real,
We'll see.
what's
Definitely.
not.
It's real.
No,
It's
it seems
fun.
like it's all
No,
just
I'm
a
talking about how
Spider-Gwen
the action
dream.
was laid out is confusing to me.
No,
to read.
I'm with you on that. I'm just saying, as far as the dream reality of it, that's
Yes.
just what we're doing here. It's fun.
Yeah.
So it's a fever dream that Spider-Gwen had where she thought she was working at the TVA because she just binged all the episodes, but then, nothing's...
No, she's just having a bad dream. Don't worry about it. It's not entirely clear. We'll read the next issue and find out. Next up, The New Gods, #1 from DC Comics, written by Ram V, art by Jorge Fornés and Evan Cagle. After the death of Darkseid in the DC All-In Special, The New Gods, his adversaries, are kind of at a loss up until a Metron gets a new prophecy that throws everything into flux and specifically sends Orion to Earth to try to get Mr. Miracle to, without getting into spoilers, help him with a problem. I thought this book was phenomenal, starting from the 4-pager from Jorge Fornés at the beginning, which was jaw-droppingly good with Metron in space, going into how Evan Cagle just draws the beefiest Orion I've ever seen in my life. The intro of
And then his
everybody's
face
names
turning to,
built
like, Darkseid.
into the panels as well was great. This book is like nothing else, and I thought it was fantastic.
Well, man, you took all the cool things to say about it. You also left out the epic shot of Wonder Woman walking up the steps to the Pantheon. That was unbelievable. Can't say enough things about the art. Just really glorious. But I also enjoyed the story here. I'm Orion, spoilers, but it's the old go back in time and kill a baby scenario. But
Without going back in time.
Yeah. That's just killing a baby.
Just kill a baby.
It just walking around killing babies, I guess. But I even though it doesn't sound good, it is great, and I'm not doing a good job of that. But I'm very excited to read more.
I think.
I kind of got in the weeds with my notes here. I was like, oh, that's not, I can't say that.
I'm just thinking about building a time machine specifically to kill babies. Like, not even baby Hitler. It's just like, why did you develop time?
A time machine that takes you to the present to kill a present-day baby?
That's called a car.
That's exactly. The time machine is your front door. Pete, you live in the weeds. We all do. It's great. This book is also great. I love the intention of having this 4-pager and then a strong change. It gives that mythological status with the Jorge Fornés art, and then into something that does feel like new. It feels like more human, a little more like funny in a lot of ways, despite the heaviness of what we're talking about at points. And then we land on a great big new mythology moment at the end of the issue. It's great, and I feel like just the play with the word balloons here is and the lettering is really fun, and it just feels like this is a book that wants to push on all the borders of the medium at all times, and that's just super exciting to read. Even something like New Gods, which can often feel a little stuffy or big mythology, dense, this feels like the opposite of that. It's bringing it all right down to earth.
Agreed.
Star Wars, The High Republic Adventures, The Wedding Spectacular, #1 from Dark Horse Comics, written by Daniel Jose Older, art by Harvey Tolibao, Caio, Filipe, Andy Duggan. Oh my God.
Double black diamond slope for Alex on the name front. Good. And long year for my guy Zalvin over here.
Joe Migyeong, Toni, Bruno, Megan Huang, Nick Brokenshire, and Elisa Romboli. Yeah, take it away, guys.
Oh man, it sounded like you're
hey, Alex,
broken.
take 5. Take a lap. Take 5.
Yeah.
Hit the
Yeah,
shower.
I'm going to just go to sleep until we get to G.I. Joe number 2. So
Great.
Oh, well, nice, great. We'll wake you up. Yeah. So this is a lovely wedding issue. The old, hurry up and get, spoilers, but hurry up and get married before this giant war is about to begin. Yeah. I mean, sure, we all have. The problem is, rushing a wedding. Sometimes people are into it, other times it doesn't work out well. But in this, it's quite lovely and kind of touching in the middle of all the madness.
How do we feel about Hair Yoda?
Oh my God!
Yaddle?
So glad
Is that Yaddle? I think that's Yaddle.
No, I'm not saying it actually is Yoda, but it's
that
a
threw
hair
me.
Yoda.
The Fabio Yoda, I was like, yo,
That's Yaddle.
who approved?
I'm not saying it's Yoda. I'm calling all
approved
of Yoda's
the
Yoda.
young Yoda with the hair.
That's Yaddle. Yaddle is on the council in the Phantom Menace, right?
Oh yeah, we all. Yeah,
I'm
Fabio
just calling
Yoda
him Hair
is
Yoda
real.
because
Yeah.
if I saw that guy, I'd
First
be
of
like, "Hey,
all,
look, it's Hair Yoda."
Second of all, it's Yaddle.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Apologies. This is like the female gremlin where it shows up and you're like, wait, what?
The hair is wild. I didn't expect that. All I'm saying.
It's a fantastic mane of hair, that's for sure.
Beautiful.
Glorious.
glowing.
Hard to take your eyes off of it. It's so glorious.
This is nice. I think I am glad it got produced. I don't know too much about the High Republic era or these characters, but this has a very classic structure to it. Not like Pete was saying, but in terms of we're getting ready for a wedding. Oops, things are attacking in the middle. They're going to ruin the wedding. And then it turns out, this is a spoiler, but this is going to happen. Lovely anyway.
Nice wedding.
Yeah, it's a comfy read, and I don't say that dismissively.
Well, but I do think I feel like the Star Wars High Republic stuff is difficult to approach. I think it's so dense and it's so it's so different, and it feels like there's just so much happening all the time with this part of the timeline in the Star Wars universe. So I feel like this script on the cover says it all. A century before Acolyte. I'm like, I don't know if that's drawing in a reader per se, but I do think it's a nice story, and I think Star Wars should do more things like this, where it's about there's a moment here, there's a moment of joy. It's not all business. Something that I feel
So you want to see
Jar
Jar with glorious hair, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I want the Jar Jar.
Joddle. She's called Joddle. Joddle.
I'm just saying, put glorious hair
Jar Jar.
on more.
It's not Jar Jar with hair. It's Joddle.
I'm saying I want to see this Jar Jar divorce spectacular from the great divorce that Jar Jar definitely.
You're thinking we're gonna get divorced?
I want to see Darth Maul,
She's
but with
taking
glorious
it all
hair.
from Misa.
Oh, Andy. Can I have pressure on your culture?
I was gonna say the exact same thing. This is good stuff. We're writing the future of Star Wars.
Oh, this is not Wizard. All right. G.I. Joe number 2, I'm Awake Again, from Skybound and Image Comics, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Tom Reilly. After the end of the last issue, where I want to say barbecue got barbecued, the team is picking up. And, was it rock and roll? Actually,
it was rock and roll, and Duke makes
you're about
a
to get
big
punched
deal
by
of
Duke,
it.
guys.
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
Well, just like it is in real life, rock and roll is dead. All right, man.
Boo!
I can't wait to meet ska and the other music genre. Basically,
I think we did meet Scott in this issue, but they called him Risk for some reason.
Name's
Yeah, Risk
Acid
is
Jazz.
new.
I'm annoying.
Acid jazz.
Anyway, rock and roll is dead, and the team is reeling. They get beaten within an inch of their life, and Cobra is ascendant. In this issue, I like the status quo. I think it's always better when you don't have G.I. Joe comes in, completely cleans up the mess and moves on from there. Having them on their back legs, dealing with a Cobra that really knows what they're doing, that creates some great action and great drama.
It was fun to see Duke lose it a little bit, be like, it's rock and roll. I
feel like that's every issue. Duke's like, can I punch somebody who I'm mad at?
Yeah, I don't know. Duke sometimes is a little bit more even keel, but this is nice to see him a little bit. Yeah, I love this. This is great. The nostalgia bath of this is also something that I really enjoy. There's great action and, just weird weapons, the shard. But other than that, it's kind of scary to have Cobra Commander teaming up with Megatron. That's bad news for everybody.
Yes, definitely. Something we all knew in our toy boxes back 30 years ago. The thing that I like, what I like about this is it does feel like this is the toy box book. It feels like very play. It feels like the G.I. Joe animated series from back in the day, updated and sort of adultized a little bit. There's great action. It progresses really nicely. It's very well staged from a pacing point of view. It's just good comic, like blockbuster action movie version of the other books, which are a little different. They're a little more specific, and then this feels like the sort of the G.I. Joe book for the people. And shouts to Risk, a Joe I've been wanting to meet for a long time.
Risk management over here.
Yeah, my favorite skill.
Ultimate Spider-Man, number 12 from Marvel, written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Marco Checchetto. In this issue, it is Christmas time, and the
Timely.
Parker family is celebrating it with their large extended family, including Mary Jane's sister and mom, who show up, as well as her aunt, Ben, J. Jonah Jameson, the kids, of course, and I really want to try to hold off spoiling this if we can, because this was my favorite issue of the week. I thought this was fantastic from front to back. I thought this brought together everything that has been working so well in this title, that most of it is really just domestic drama, but it's compelling, it's interesting, I'm into the characters, even the one that I missed, and it leads to an ending that is so...
It's an oh shit moment, for sure.
It's perfectly structured. It's perfectly structured in terms of the structure of a comic book in a way that only Jonathan Hickman really does correctly. It's great. And it's the sort of thing
take that down a notch, bro.
I'm jumping around because I don't want to spoil anything for everybody, but in terms of everybody knows that he lays out these text pages. The way that he lays out text pages in here causes a perfect rhythm to how you read the comic book that emphasizes exactly what happens towards the end. I thought this was fantastic.
All right, I'll buy that for $1. Listen, yeah, this is it's funny that you say this is your favorite, because it's a lot of just people talking and no action till towards the end, but it is enjoyable. It's nice to kind of just have people catch up a little bit. Spider-Man's usually just so crazy and manic. There's so much going on, so it's nice to have a breather a little bit, which I appreciated. But yeah, and I thought I wouldn't enjoy this as much as I thought, just because not much happens till the end. But I did find myself being like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is nice.
Well, go ahead, Justin, please.
I was going to say, I agree with you, Alex. This is so good to have the character sort of forefronted here. I mean, the art continues to be amazing. Yeah, but this is fantastic. Especially the timeliness of the Ultimate Universe. We've talked about that a bit with the other books, but Ultimate Spider-Man is doing it just super well. They're really progressing time, and this being a Christmas book while also maintaining all the relationships, advancing them, introducing these other characters we haven't really met before, and then building a couple just great tense reveals and moments at the end, I thought was awesome.
I think the thing that's working about this is, and maybe we talked about this with Amazing Spider-Man, but the thing that Amazing Spider-Man is missing is the soap opera aspect of Spider-Man comics. We talk about that incessantly in terms of the dating thing, that it hasn't really panned out that much. There's not too much of that type of thing. And that was such a crucial, major part of the book for so long, that it was mostly about Peter Parker doing Peter Parker things. And then he'd be like, oop, Lizard is attacking, go fight him. And then be like, now I got to come back and deal with these 5 girlfriends that I have dates with on the same evening. Yeah. And this is obviously an older version of that, because it's the married life of Spider-Man. But that's why this issue works so well, is they've built up these characters over the previous 11 issues. We've gotten to know them. We've gotten to care about them. We care about what's happening to them, and it feeds that need while then leading into the superhero stuff at the end. So,
I agree, Alex. I think Spider-Man really works when it's dealing with the relationship of Peter and Mary Jane. So thank you for saying that.
No.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate
Way to bend it right back toward you. Well, but I actually think, like, we've talked about this on our Patreon Slack a ton. Like, Peter Parker it's not about stasis. He can't be good in stasis. He needs, like, something going wrong or something changing all the time. That's why Peter Parker dating is always better in the main continuity. What I think this book is doing is finding those stakes in other parts of his life and other parts of the other characters' lives. So it still feels like a Spider-Man book while being, like, wildly different, set in the Ultimate Universe with a completely different series of boundaries around him. And mismatching and mixing up the different Spider-Man elements to make something that still feels tense and surprising constantly.
Let's move on to talk about Challengers of the Unknown. Number 1 from DC Comics, written by Christopher Cantwell, art by Sean Izaakse. The Challengers are now working with the Justice League like everybody else. And per their name and per their MO, they are still looking into unknown anomalies throughout the universe, this time at the behest of Mr. Terrific, who wants them to look into some stuff. And the other little twist here, you can probably tell from the cover, is they're being paired up with members of the Justice League. So in this one, Ace teams up with Superman to investigate an anomaly, and we get the tease that several more will be coming up after that. What do you guys think about this first issue?
I think this is really fun. I think it's a smart take. I feel like Challengers of the Unknown often feels like it's off to the side, and they've just put them front and center with pairing them with heroes a ton here, and that feels like is what we're going to be seeing going forward. We get some great twists and turns in the middle of the book that really, again, bring them right alongside the heroes problematically for them. But also, it's surprising to me with this that this feels like the book of all of the All-In books that is most closely tied with the dark side of it all, which is a surprise, but one that I was like, oh, great, because I'm really interested in this part of the story from the All-In special, and I'm glad we're getting to sort of see it progress a bit.
So you're team dark side is what you're saying?
Yeah, I can't wait for that guy. I wish I had rock face.
Pete, what'd you think about this book?
I'm not as familiar with the Challengers of the Unknown, so I was a little taken aback by all this kind of setup, and then the purple look and all that kind of stuff. But I am excited to read more and to kind of find out more and get okay with all this kind of mix them up, if you will. So yeah, I wasn't completely on board, but by the end, I feel like they won me over, and I'm excited to see what happens. Great art.
If people aren't familiar with the Challengers, they do explain it in the book, kind of, but not in a very explicit way. So they, in the real world, there's a lot of arguments about this, but may or may not have inspired or been ripped off for the Fantastic Four or vice versa. It goes back and forth a lot, exactly how it worked. But they're regular humans. They don't have powers. They died or almost died and came back and were like, you know what, we have a second chance at life, and we're going to explore the unknown. We're not going to waste this chance. That's their basic concept. If you want to know more about them, I believe it was the first series that Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale did together with Challengers of the Unknown. And it's, honestly, it's okay. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
Their later stuff is better. But it gives you a good overview of the team.
It's always been a tough concept to like. It's one that I feel like people constantly want to bring back in the DC universe, and this feels like they found a good path forward that's bouncing between regular DC continuity and this very specific event. So that's a good spot for this, I think.
Freddy the Fix, number 1 from Image Comics and Ninth Circle, written by Garth Ennis, art by Mike Perkins. This is the kickoff of a new pop-up imprint through Image Comics that is prestige horror one-shots from
Prestige
all-star
Worldwide.
teams. Sure. And in this case, it's Garth Ennis introducing Freddy the Fix of the title. He is a fixer for Hollywood, except in this version of Hollywood, all of the stars are all monsters, and also all the films are porn, I think, or B-movies.
Mostly, it seems like, just like reality.
So
Holly weird.
Lots going on there. And it's not just monsters like werewolves and vampires. There's also talking dinosaurs and other things. What did you guys think? I was about to go off on this a little bit, but
you're gonna hold it back. This book is insane in a Garth Ennis kind of way. But it keeps going and it keeps getting crazier. But I think that the art does a great job of underlying the kind of creepy factor and the weirdness in a good way. I'm interested to keep reading. It's
there
a
is
lot.
No more. Keep reading. This is the only issue.
And let me jump in on that because reading this, I was like, God, I wish this was an ongoing that Garth Ennis was doing because it's really fun. The dialogue is excellent. Like, it's just great Garth Ennis stuff. There's a lot of comedy here. All the characters feel like big and they're like have a lot to say that is like fuck you in other words, basically. But this issue feels a little crammed up with things happening. And I wish it was just able to breathe and be a series where we could approach all of these great ideas sort of one or two at a time.
Yeah, because you're trying to wrap your head around the first insane idea, and then they just kind of keep stacking them, and then you're just like, oh, man.
And Alex, I believe that this is the part in the script for the show where you were going to go off, King.
Yeah. I mean, not even go off that hard, but in the rudest possible way that I could say it, this feels like the sort of thing Garth Ennis could do in his sleep. And my issue is, even though generally I enjoyed this, like Garth Ennis is funny. Like, he puts funny jokes in here. Mike Perkins, love his art. He's perfect for a dark, noir, supernatural world. That fits perfectly in my mind. But there's no underlying there, as far as I can tell. Like, it's just Chinatown with monsters, and that's pretty much it. I wanted something that felt bigger and more pointed because the best of Garth Ennis' stuff are where he's really saying something. Like, either he's saying something very specifically about war, like in Get Fury, and that's really just Vietnam is utter hell, and that's sort of the base level thing you can take away from there. Or Babs over at Ahoy Comics, which I think is working so well because it's not broad, raunchy fantasy comedy, even though that's there. It's really focusing on like our relationship with fantasy comedy and fantasy and what we think about it, both from the female and the male perspective. So there's a lot more going on there. And here, this is just like, what if a werewolf was a big star and gay and kept ripping people apart, period.
I think what it's trying to say is people in Hollywood or people in movies and stuff can get away with some pretty crazy stuff, and there's these people who need to come in and do a lot of shady jobs.
That's the plot of the book. That's not a theme. That's a
and that's something we've seen. It's a fact, and it's something we've seen a lot before. But I think that's the difference maker is the Garth Ennis characters and dialogue that are here. But like in the same way, Alex, to your point, like this feels like we've seen it before. The Boys was a sort of right there idea that had been in comics before. It's just Garth Ennis had time to develop it and really push it forward with his take. If this had that time to breathe, I think it would progress like you're wishing it was doing in this one shot.
I 100% agree. I think that's why this feels tossed off to me, because it's like, here you go, here's my one shot. On to the next thing. Goodbye. I know that's rude. I know it was not tossed off. I'm sure there was more thought put into it, but it is what it is. From the world of minor threats, Barfly #4 from Dark Horse Comics, written by Kyle Starks, art by Ryan Brown. This is the final issue of this series, focusing on a Hench Fly who is pushed to the limit by his old master, who now has universal powers and wants to take over the world using bugs. I thought this was a fantastic and poignant end to this series. Another winner from the Minor Threats universe.
It's crazy how they're batting over here in Minor Threats universe. Like I feel like it's really good. It's something that we talk about a lot in another world we're going to investigate in a little bit, the Black Hammer world, where it's right next to the comic book universes that we understand. It's just really fun versions of it. And this universe from the Minor Threats universe continues to be that way and find different great stories and characters here in each of these books that spin off.
Yeah, this is a blast. Spoilers, but I love the power glove moment and, the action and the madness that ensues. Amazing art that kind of sets up this world that you can kind of buy into. If the art isn't great, then you're not going to enjoy this as much, but it does such a great job of making such a gross character cool.
Like flies?
No. Do you like flies?
Love them.
Well, weird. Okay, cool.
I have a fly unswatter.
Wow.
Just bringing it back to life.
And then it just creates a fly when you swing it around? Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Hey, Pete, you want to hear a joke? What has 4 wheels and flies?
What?
A car that kills babies. Do you like that? That's what you were asking about earlier, right?
Yes, that's what you keep asking and keep texting us about.
I'm a little worried about your joke structure, but yeah,
I think the structure's there. The specifics maybe need a little.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's like Freddy the Fix.
But I also like how
Wow.
even when our hero wins, you know what I mean? These, I don't want to spoil it, but I also love even in a W, he kind of loses. So this got some real heart to it, some reality in this kind of madness, which I appreciated.
Hellverine, number 1 from Marvel, written by Benjamin Percy, art by Raphael Ienco. This is a new series, just to be clear. This is Hellverine number 1, 2024, which is different from Hellverine number 1, 2024, that came out earlier this year. That was a mini-series. This is an ongoing series that picks up where that left off with Duggan, now the Hellverine, the Ghost Rider Wolverine, going around and chopping up baddies. Pete is going, no, just because he doesn't like Duggan. So why don't we go to Justin? What did you think about this?
This book has to do a lot of I'm Wolverine. In a way, I'm his son, technically, and I've done a lot of stuff, and I was cut up into pieces, and I've lived adjacent to Wolverine. I hunted him, and I'm Ghost Rider, and so Ghost Rider, I do this stuff, and this stuff. There's a lot of pipe that has to be laid to get to the interesting stuff, I think, here. But, man, the art is really great. We were just talking about Garth Ennis. This has a Derek Robertson feel to it in a really nice way, especially when we're seeing so much hell adjacent stuff. Once this gets going, though, I'm into it. I'm into Hellverine. I'm going to Hellverine.
Huh.
Pete?
Yeah, I was also surprised how much I enjoyed this by the end. I sort of begrudgingly started it just because the other things, I like Benjamin Percy. It's just they got so complicated, both the Ghost Rider Wolverine crossover and the first Hellverine series. Maybe it'll get there, but this was a very fun start.
Well, and I know Pete has a lot to say about this, but I just wanted to say this book does a lot of work to describe so much, but you don't have to, it could just be it's Wolverine and Ghost Rider, remember? It doesn't have to do all that.
Well, that's what drives me nuts about this, is this doesn't make any fucking sense. First off, that cover is Sabretooth's body on Hellverine's head. Sabretooth's not in this at all. Why would you think as a comic book fan I would be okay with you just randomly throwing Sabretooth's body in there?
Do you feel the body is on the head and not the other way around?
That's Ghost Rider and Wolverine's head, but it's not even Wolverine. It's Duggan's head and Ghost. This doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
It's like some sort of Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, that's good. Frankencastle. I consider the head to be the hat for the body.
Nice.
Is that just me?
Your neck hat, if you will.
Your neck hat. Yeah.
Totally.
Where the thoughts happen.
By the end of it, I am okay, Duggan or Dakin or whatever you say this fucking shitty character's name is saving kids, so that's good. He can sense evil and he's going to, try to right some wrongs. Okay, I can get behind that. But
What did you
The
think about the
title
part
doesn't
where
make any-
Mephisto is manipulating him to make bone sculptures?
This is just so dumb. This is so fucking.
I love that. I love that
Yeah.
part. This
He's
is
got
gonna
a
be,
lot
I
going on
was
in
I
Mephisto.
wasn't sure about following this going forward, but based on this discussion, I think we have to talk about every issue.
We simply must.
Great.
Green Arrow, Green
Thank you.
Lantern, World's Finest Special #1 from DC Comics, written by Jeremy Adams, art by
Is this
Lucas
the
Meyer
Pete
and
hate
Travis
block?
Mercer.
Is that what's going on right now?
What? Oh, what
Remember,
is your
Pete's still,
issue
he's
with
still
this?
mad at Green Arrow.
This takes place
fucking
back in the day.
Turncoat
when you
piece
liked
of shit.
it. Doesn't this take place years ago?
I'm just gonna fuck over my whole family and then be like, yo, it's cool, that's me.
Sorry. So if somebody does something you don't like in the present, you travel back in time and hate them in the past?
Yeah, go back and kill the baby. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that.
Wow, Pete, you were fighting this thing for a while, and now you're really owning it.
Yeah. Anyway, this takes place during the old New Teen Titans days with the introduction of Deathstroke into the DC universe. The front story, he is battling Green Arrow and Green Lantern, and then there's a backup featuring the Flash. I thought this was a lot of fun. This is a throwback thing. They're, hard traveling heroes on the road. If you
Road
like that
trip.
era. Yeah, if you like that era, you're going to like this book.
I like it. It's a simpler time for the characters, and I think the art and story reflect that. This feels like a fun buddy superhero comedy action in the way that feels like what this was intended to be back in the day. We don't have to get caught up in too much stuff. Like Pete is still mad about some stuff. That's not part of this. This is just what it's selling on the cover of these two heroes going out there and doing some fun stuff. And I really like the idea of a backup that features team-ups between one of them with another superhero. In this case,
It
Flash
seemed like
in a fun story.
It seemed like we got kind of like two parts of a story, which is great, where like it started an idea and then the backup was almost like a second part, which was kind of cool.
It's specifically that. It's one story and then another story.
Yeah, but it felt like they were connected, like there was still,
Yes,
what I mean?
they're
It's
connected.
telling the same
Yeah.
story, but in different
You're
parts.
both right. You're both beautiful babies, and you don't even know it. Why don't we move on and talk about Deadly Tales? and
Also, the
Gunslinger?
art, I wanted to just say the art was great.
Yeah,
And the
great.
pacing was nice.
Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger Spawn, #1 from Image Comics, written by Jimmy Palmiotti, art by Patrick Reynolds. Per the title, this is focusing on the Western Spawn with a very tall hat and his adventures back in the Old West. And, of course, Jimmy Palmiotti is a guy who knows that very well from his time on Jonah Hex. So
Yeah.
I was excited to check this out. I will say one thing about this, and then I'll turn it over to you guys. Similar to the Violator book, where the origin of Violator was like, wow, this is really interesting. What's going on with him? I wonder how he's going to become Violator. And then he falls to Earth and he's like, I'm Violator now. That was the whole origin.
Yes.
Here, the same thing happens with Gunslinger Spawn, where it's like interesting Western origin. They're like, what if a bird brought you a hat?
Yo, I was going to say the exact same
Crazy.
thing. This is such a great, like, if you're a Jonah Hex
How
fan,
do you get your hats, Alex?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The birds don't bring them
I
to you?
don't wear hats. My head is my hat.
Yeah, exactly. The hardest part for me with my bird army is communicating to them which hat I want. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's like,
that is the tough part. Because
hummingbirds, bring me my visor. And I'm like, crows,
that
bring me
one.
my bowler hat. Hey, I'm going to see a Bills game. Bees, the bees help too. Bring me my Bills hat. This was just this. If you're a Jonah Hex
alliteration
fan
going
from back in the day, this is a great Jonah Hex story that then transitions to a dude in a big old red uniform out of nowhere, hanging out in the Wild West.
I thought this was a blast. I love the kind of first off, fantastic cover. Really sets you up nicely where it's like, hey, what if Spawn but a Western? And I feel like we get that here. We get a fun setup, maybe not the best origin story, but still a great kind of setup that gets you excited for what's to come. It is kind of weird. I know it's cowboy times, but it's also weird where it's like I still want him to shoot chains instead of shooting guns, but what are you going to do?
But I also think the gunslinger, I don't think he has to wear that uniform. Like, he could just wear the hat. Like, the uniform is such a stark turn in the story that I do think takes you out of, like, the really, like, grisly, occult-infused Western story that is the first 2/3 of this book.
Well, and I will say, I like where it ends up. There's some interesting gross stuff that happens at the end there that definitely makes me want to read the second issue. It's funny that it's the Spawn stuff that takes you out of it while you're reading this book. But
yeah,
it's all right. Paranoid Gardens, number 6 from Dark Horse Comics, written by Gerard Way and Sean Simon, art by Chris Weston. The final issue of this title as the battle for Paranoid Gardens goes down between the Gardens and the Money Monkeys. We also get a origin story for how the Gardens came to be. I was way off in my guesses there, but I loved this book and loved how this ended it. I really did. Like, I thought it was really kind of very profound in terms of the way it talked about caring and kindness and care and caring for yourself was one of the ultimate takeaways here, as well as, like we talked about, I think, with the last issue, corporate IP versus creativity is a theme there as well. This was great.
Yeah, it's funny, like we were talking a lot about as we were reading each of these issues, what is the sort of reality, what's the central metaphor we're dealing with here? Is this all in someone's brain? Is this all this and that? And it proved to be simultaneously more thematic and metaphorical while also being way more straightforward than we thought. I feel like they were just like, no, this is just these people doing this thing. I was like, oh, okay. You sort of caught me off guard twice with that. But I agree with you. Like, it really landed something that was surprising and somehow more grounded than I could have ever thought.
I really love this. The only thing that was kind of weird to me were, like, they kept us guessing the whole time, and then in the last issue, we got all the answers, and then everything kind of wrapped up. And I thought it wrapped up really well, and like Zelbatron was saying, like, was kind of deep and profound and had some nice kind of life lessons you could walk away with, which I really appreciated. But I almost wish I got to enjoy the ending a little bit more, because it was all like, here's all your answers, here's the ending. And it was like, oh, I would have liked to kind of enjoyed that a little bit more. I wish they had spread it out a little bit differently. It almost felt like rushed at the end, or like they were out of time or something. So I really kind of tip my hat to all of the choices made and the kind of cool ways that they did it, but it was also kind of all in one issue where it was like, oh man, I would have loved to have sat with this a little bit more, or kind of got to enjoy this a little bit more, instead of it like in the dark, here's all your answers, and then the end. You know what I mean?
That's fair. Why don't we talk about Psylocke, number 2 from Marvel, written by Alyssa Huang, art by Vincenzo Caratu. In this issue, Psylocke is trying to free some mutant children from a fight club they've been thrown into. Pete, I know you love this one, so take it away.
Yeah, this is, as a fan of Psylocke, it's nice to see her on a cool mission that everybody can get behind, where it's like, Psylocke saving kids, done. Yes, please. Let's do that. That's a great idea. Let's see her kicking ass and then, saving kids. Crazy last panel. Excited to see what that's all about. But yeah, I love what Alyssa Huang is doing here. Great execution of ideas, tons of action, easy to follow along and get behind. So yeah, I'm all about this.
How many different superhero-based fight clubs do you think are in the Marvel Universe?
So many.
Is that most of the economy in the Marvel Universe? It's
gotta be, yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, if I'm like a rich scumbag in the Marvel Universe, am I spending 6 nights a week just throwing money down on, like, whoa, Gambit's fighting like a big slug or whatever?
Yeah.
It's a wild thing that we've seen a lot of, but I do like Psylocke being at center stage here. I'm just ready for this to move out of stuff I've seen before, I guess.
Absolute Batman #3 from DC Comics, written by Scott Snyder, art by Nick Dragotta. In this issue, picking up right where we left off, Batman and Alfred are in the honkin' huge Batmobile.
Big fucking truck.
Yeah, it's like a building.
And talking a little bit more about whether Bruce should give up and take the deal that Black Mask has given him so that he can make Batman even bigger financially, mind you. We're also getting a flashback to back in the day with Selina Kyle and Bruce.
Yeah.
Great. Every issue of this is great.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my review.
And badass cover. It just sets such a great tone. Yeah, I'm having a blast with this. I love the art. I love the take on this Batman. Although I'm worried that he's a huge sellout and what that is going to mean moving forward. And, you know, Kat's probably not going to like him after this because, I don't know. I'm worried about what's to come, but I think in a good way. But I am just having such a blast with this, and the art's such a big part of it. And, yeah, I'm a sucker for the old Bat and Cat stuff.
No, Pete, as someone who's an Alfred lover,
yeah,
do you feel like this Alfred is hitting for you?
I like an Alfred who gets up in Batman shit. You know what I mean? Who's like,
Yeah.
Yo, bro, you're slipping. Yo, what the fuck? You know, so I like an Alfred who's up in Bruce's grill piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't imagine regular Alfred bringing some cucumber sandwiches down and being like, yo, you're slipping.
Yeah.
Get your shit together.
Yo.
Your fucking soup.
But that is, I mean, I know you're joking, but that is what he does usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
Well-
you have to get some rest. You have to take care of yourself. You are being mean to Jason, Tim, etc. He's always calling him that shit.
Well, and that's why I asked that for an actual reason, not just to be a regular jerk. I do think what Scott Snyder's doing here is taking those things about these characters and he's heightening them in different ways. I feel like he's got sort of sliders from a music engineering setup on each of these characters, and he's like, I'm going to turn Alfred way up over here. I'm going to turn Bruce down a little bit. He's adding different elements in here. The Selina Kyle of it all, I feels like that's going to turn and then twist at a point. Like, and that's just super exciting. And to see him doing that, something he clearly loves doing. And the Nick Dragotta art feels like how Batman just is. It just feels like this is more... Remember when the first came out, everyone's like, he's too thick. He's dangerously thick. And I'm like, this now feels like the main Batman.
Wow.
Yep. Great book. And next up, Motherfucking Monsters.
Alex.
One from...
Alex.
What? I censored myself. I brought the C down just like it is in the title. From Image Comics, written by Jay Holtham, art by Michael Lee Harris. This is part of the Horizon experiment, and here we're getting a bunch of black nerds fighting a white fraternity who is the monsters of
Evil.
the title. We've been really enjoying the Horizon experiment so far. What'd you guys think about this one?
Yeah, this is motherfucking blast right here. Love the art. Love the cover.
Oh, is that the word? Is that the word on the cover?
Yep.
Huh.
No, what an education.
Fun idea, well executed. Yeah, funny last panel. This moves really well. Yeah, I had a blast with this.
This was giving me shades of Brendan Small's show from the early aughts, Home Movies. For back on Adult Swim in its very early days, except brought into with some occult stuff hanging around here, and that's a fun combo. Not something I would have opened my eyes and said that's what I want, but this book delivers on that idea.
Yeah.
House of
Poor
Slaughter,
pizza
number
guy.
28 from Boom Studios, written by Sam Johns, art by Letizia Catanici. In this issue, a bunch of different things are going on, but mostly the main plot, or at least where we end up with, is a demonically possessed, I want to say, member of the House of Slaughter is coming for everybody in the house.
The call's coming from within the house.
I think we talked about this in the last one, but I feel like every other arc of House of Slaughter, I have a little bit of a hard time holding on to exactly what's happening, and we're in that type of arc right now.
Well, and especially the last one was hyper clear. It was This person is on the run, and they are fighting everyone. And this one, it's sort of like, it goes back and forth between some historical stuff, and then the character point of view feels like it's just one step away from, like, clarity, where I'm like, I don't quite know what this means. I see, you see stuff that's happening, you recognize a little bit of the story, but I agree with you, Alex. It's just hard to really fully, like, grasp this.
Well, first, let's back up the truck here and talk about this amazing mosaic kind of cover that we got here, which is just so lovely put together. Beautiful cover. Love it. Anyways, yeah, I think this is very interesting. This is just kind of like somebody talking shit about the houses. It's like a lot of hot goss where it's like, hey, you hear what the blue scarves are doing? Man, they're fucking up.
Scarves.
And it's like, oh, what about the white scarves? They're just lying around all fucking dead. So it's kind of, we got a behind the scenes because these houses have been seen like as all powerful, evil kind of things. We're kind of seeing, I don't know if it's for the first time, but we're definitely seeing that things aren't as well-oiled a machine as we think. Some people are being very casually killing off others, and then people are like, hey, dude, it's not like we have unlimited resources. We can't just train anybody here. So I liked the kind of seeing behind the curtain, if you will, in this issue, where we got to kind of see that, just because you get a bunch of psycho killers all on one team doesn't mean that everybody's going to kind of mind their P's and Q's and kind of go with what's supposed to happen, which is kind of what they've been portraying a little bit of, like, with these houses and how well they can execute and kill and all that kind of stuff. So I thought this was an interesting kind of look behind what's actually going down in these houses, and then kind of wrapping up a big bad that's to come. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and the art is just so phenomenal in this book. It's really unbelievable.
Daredevil number 16 from Marvel, written by Saladin Ahmed, art by Aaron Kuder. And this issue, picking off of the huge cliffhanger of the last issue, where Matt got a letter from Foggy. He now goes to visit Foggy, but Foggy is not there.
Oh, he's there. He's just not taking his calls or answering the door.
He can open up his face in a weird way.
Yeah, you gotta talk to his face.
And I'll tell you what, as soon as Matt finds out that Foggy can open up his face weird, he leaves and goes somewhere else for a while.
Yes.
Typical Matt Murdock. Horrible
I
friend.
love Aaron Kuder's art, and there's some great splash pages in here that feel like cover art in and of themselves.
That's nice. And the stuff at the end where we're getting into a bit of a bullseye story feels intriguing. But to your point, Alex, I feel like just this entire arc and this entire run, it's a great idea, combining Daredevil, dealing with the fallout from him being disconnected from everyone in his life, and them sort of being taken over by different sins. But the way it's being told, it feels like it just is missing a step. It's just like to your point, he goes to Foggy, finds out that he's been overtaken by pride. It's his fault. And then he's like, I'm going to have to call him tomorrow. He's like, what? Yeah. And then he can't get a hold of him. And then Foggy's calling She-Hulk and being like, fuck you. What is going on? It's
but
so wild.
We don't get to see that. Also, we get to be like, She-Hulk be like, hey, I got a call from Foggy, by the way.
Well, that's not even that. It's like, I got a call from Foggy's assistant, and it's like, fuck you. And Matt's like, really? And she's like, it goes on. And he's like, and the case is fucked up too. And I'm just like, what? It's just so, like, down different pipelines. And the biggest thing, though, I'll call it a sin as a joke, but this is so self-serious, but so wild and weird. I'm like, either come at this from a little bit more of the fun Spider-Man side of Daredevil, where he's like hanging out and like able to not be so self-serious, but instead it's this like super dark Daredevil who's like not taking calls from Foggy and stuff. It's just like, it's just a little it's missing something.
Yeah, it's weird. There's a lot going on as far as like there's demons possessing people and all this other stuff with the sins, and like I feel like there's a way to kind of lean into the religious side of Matt without doing all this kind of weird shit. But I don't know. I just feel like Elektra Daredevil is so much better right now that I'm just like, let's just kill off Matt Murdock and fucking move on. I'm not having a good time with this Daredevil book, and Daredevil is usually a staple for me, so I don't know, man.
P love staples.
Staples, we got that. Wonder Woman number 16 from DC Comics, written by Tom King, art by Bruno Redondo and Kari Randolph. In the front story here, Detective Chimp is helping out Wonder Woman while she is busy with Trinity, though she might be a little aware of what he's doing, investigating the Sovereign and blowing the murder of Steve Trevor wide open. And in the backup story, Superman as Clark Kent has also helped out blow the story of the Sovereign wide open, and we get Jimmy Olsen reporting on it. Fantastic issue from front to back. This can create so much tension with Wonder Woman mostly off screen is a testament not just to the control of Tom King's writing, but also very specifically to the way Daniel Sampere draws Wonder Woman as she is walking through and doing other things, because you can feel what?
Bruno Redondo?
Bruno Redondo. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Yes, Bruno Redondo in this issue, because you can feel Wonder Woman.
What do you say, Bruno Mars?
Yeah, Bruno Mars. Keep saying things. I'll say whatever. I don't even care at this point. The simmering tension. You can feel the tension in every move that she makes. The end.
It's crazy that this book is also like one of the funnier books on the stands. Like, it's a comedy just as much as is this tension building Wonder Woman stuff. And with Detective Chimp and this Sovereign here, like the fact that Tom King's able to, not lean away from making it funny, dealing with this villain who we've already seen is a monster and really had Wonder Woman against the ropes. And Detective Chimp, that is like the narrative drive of this issue, and able to just fuck around a lot and be funny. Like, man, this is just masterful. I love it.
A lot of fun banana jokes. Yeah, my apologies. This is the book where we had the Wonder Woman epic panels where she's going up the steps.
When you said that earlier, I was like,
okay. I'm not going to call him on it. But.
Well, I got my, we read a lot of comics, so I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah.
I don't read any of these.
Oh, okay. But yeah, this is just.
I liked how they were exposing the truth.
Yeah, I thought we were featuring Detective Chimp.
I thought Alex would go on a little bit of his rant where he says, I don't like the title because we didn't get enough Wonder Woman. It was mainly Detective Chimp. But
no, that's the rule is if Detective Chimp is in the comic, it's a Detective Chimp comic, like first and foremost.
Yeah.
Often true.
Love that.
I just think that this was just so well done. Love all the Detective Chimp stuff, especially driving that old guy crazy. But the art is the real hero here, as far as I'm concerned, and it's glorious.
Whether it's Bruno Mars or Bruno Redondo, all good by me. Stand Still, number 5 from Image Comics, written by Lee Lowridge, art by Andrew Robinson. In this issue, our two time manipulators finally meet and sort of hash things out, but not really. I thought we had missed an issue reading this, but I don't think we did. I think it just jumped ahead. Wildly.
Well, it smashed the characters. We followed the other two on this journey in the last issue, which really laid a lot of groundwork. And in this issue, they were like, boom, they're together. And now we're learning what happened a little bit more. And then we pop back out to them. I mean, this book is doing a good job of having fun with time travel and sort of showing us really heightened versions of what that can mean for people playing fast and loose with their ability to do that. And I'm curious, though. It feels like it's just a lot of back and forth. Like, what's the climax we're heading toward here? Because this issue, we get some reveals, but then they retreat and they're like, yeah, we got to get this thing. And the other one's like, we got to do this thing. And it's like, we know that's been the stakes from the jump.
Yeah, also, it's like the cover here kind of gives away the moment of them, like, pausing time just before a bunch of missiles get there.
But that's where we pick up on the first page.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know. It just feels weird that it's like I see that before I kind of get into it. But I hear what you're saying. I wasn't sure if they could just pause time or if they could jump back in time or where their kind of powers kind of worked a little bit. I got a little confused, but amazing art, very interesting story. The classic, just make more wristwatches. You know what I mean? Like if you need, to jump around in time, just make another time machine type of thing. So, yeah, but interesting art and cool story.
If you had a machine that could stop time, Pete, what would you use it for?
Just mainly enjoying food.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, you were going to kill one baby. But how are you not enjoying food now?
Oh, I eat too fast, and then I would say to myself afterwards, I wish I would enjoy that more.
Wait, so you need to stop time?
Yeah.
To savor a hamburger? You can't just take a second. You're going to stop time for everyone. Yep. For how long? An hour?
Yeah. You're still going to eat the hamburger at the regular speed. The hamburger isn't slowing down into your mouth.
You have the power to slow down that burger without a time machine.
Well,
you don't need a time machine to that. What are you going to sit there with the burger?
Do. I just like to take a bite, pause time, and be like, man, this is nice.
But wait, but you're just going to sit there with a bite in your mouth?
Mm-hmm.
You can do that now. You can do that right now. You don't need a time machine.
Who's got a burger? Let's do it.
Who's got a burger?
Who has got one? Arcbound #2 has a burger from Dark Horse Comics, written by Scott Snyder and Frank Thierry. I really wish this was a Burger Books book. That would have been great. Art by Ryan Smallman. In this issue, our guy is finally in his arc, which is another body, I want to say.
Yes.
He's learning how to use it.
He's bound.
Oh, yeah.
He's got legs. He knows how to use them.
Oh, boy.
Really feeling the Frank Thierry in this issue, which is always fun. And there's technically 3 writers on this book: Tom Hardy, Scott Snyder, and Frank Thierry. And it's hard to. The fact that we can spot the Frank Thierry of it in here is, I think, actually really nice. I am curious we're still sort of in the ramping part of the story, and I feel like the next issue is going to be the one where things start to really bang around.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is some great art. I love the action of this. I feel like this moves really well. I agree with JT Sizz where I feel like by the next issue, things will start making more sense a little bit.
Blood Hunters #5 from Marvel, written by Erica Schultz, art by Chris Capana and Robert Gill, is the final issue of this title, which is, well, we're wrapping up the Blood Hunt for real this time.
Oh, so sad.
Never to be seen again.
Don't say that.
It'll be back. Blood Hunt, in a way, is always inside of our hearts.
Yeah.
If you hunt for it.
Always be blood hunting.
Always ABBH. What did you guys think about this one?
That's your blood type.
Erica Schultz does an amazing job with this. It's sad to see this kind of wrap up because I've been having so much fun with the Blood Hunt. And I love this team. I love this group of badass superheroes. It's great to see them work together so well and share the mask and do different fun stuff. And this was a blast. I want more.
I like this team as well. I feel like, weirdly, the part I think is my least favorite is that it's still part of the Blood Hunt. Mm-hmm. Like, the Blood Coven is of these villains from Blood Hunt that seem very cool. And in this issue, they seem like not very cool. They seem like they're the major JV energy. But this team is great. I wish this was an ongoing in the style of a book from the 90s called The Darkhold Redeemers, I want to say, which was dealing with occult stuff in the Marvel universe. I think like Darkhawk was on it. It was wild. Yeah. And maybe it changed who was on it every now and again. But anyway, I want to see this progress out of Blood Hunt into something else.
Great. Plastic Man No More #4 from DC Comics, written by Christopher Cantwell, art by Alex Linz and Jacob Edgar. This is the final issue of this title as well, which found Plastic Man dying, falling apart, and trying to set off a nuclear bomb to reconstitute his molecules and prevent the same thing from happening to his son, or at least that was the theory. And that's what it comes down to here. I thought this was a great end to this series. I was impressed how they wrapped everything up pretty nicely and in a emotionally satisfying fashion that tied back to the beginning of the series. And Alex Linz's art and Jacob Edgar in this issue, creepy and gross out. Good stuff.
I agree. Man, we were talking about this book about how it let Plastic Man be not great. Like, he messes up so much as this title progresses. And then he gets... And we were talking about also, like, there's all this Justice League stuff where it was like, eventually they're going to listen to him and come in and save the day. And then it just doesn't happen. Like, Plastic Man does get to be a hero ish and makes this big emotional sacrifice, and we see the ramifications in the rest of the world in that there aren't many. And it's a sad message, but I just thought it was really nice and caught me off guard. And the art is excellent. Like, when he is really going through it and the countdown is happening, I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, Justin loves a countdown clock, so this cover really worked for him.
Crazy number on 3 on the clock.
Yeah.
Often it's 1 because it's right before the end.
Yeah. But 4. I think it's a golf reference. You know what I mean? You just yell 4.
Yes, that's what this is.
Do you think it's because it's the 4th issue?
Oh, there's always one asshole.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Or what if it's like this? What if it's like, you know how you can type a number in a calculator and it spells boobs if you flip it over? Mm-hmm. This is spelling O.
Or boo.
Oh, boobs.
Oh, boy. Yeah, fantastic art. I don't know. This is sad. It's sad to see Plastic Man struggling like this and the stress of it, and him kind of not being a hero to his son and all that. So, I didn't like the stress of it.
I would love to see this team take on Stretch Armstrong next.
Yeah. Any undercutting any Stretch.
That's weird. Why would you say that? These characters have nothing in common.
I want to see him die. The Sacrificers, number 13 from Image Comics, written by Rick Remender, art by Andre Lima Araujo. In the previous issue, Pigeon was sucked down to hell. And this issue, we find out exactly what that means.
Don't call him Pigeon, bro.
Don't call him Pigeon. I'll call him whatever I want. He doesn't exist. Pigeon goes to hell and fights his way through there. Surprising direction plot-wise in this issue. And I say that complimentarily, but I thought things were going to get worse. And they get more sideways is maybe the best way of putting it. Probably not the best way.
Did they... switch artists on this, or I don't know, no. It just seems like a different kind of feel.
Wait, yes, they did, right? Hold on, you keep talking and I'll look it up.
But this is great to see Pigeon kind of like lose his shit and beat some ass. I really enjoyed that. This is such a cool and interesting story. I'm having a blast with this. Love the action, love the pace of it.
Rick Remender always, it feels like with his books, he's really actually letting the story change over time as he's working on a book. And this feels that way to a huge degree. It feels like, okay, I see now this issue, we get to see just a big fight and everybody's morals be, slightly chipped away in a different manner.
Also, badass line where it's like, if you're a man of the people, prove it.
But anything he does is always a blend of like social commentary, politics, great, interesting, weird worlds, and strong characters with strong intentions.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Max Fumara who was doing the title, and then Andre Lima Araujo, I'm definitely mangling that name, did that other book with Rick Remender, the one about the regular guy who was on the run with a kid for a while.
Yeah.
What?
The Assassin, it's called. It's like a multi-word title.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I think, if I remember correctly, I was trying to look up this information, but I didn't see it. I think Andre Lima Arujo is jumping in for a couple of issues, not taking over permanently, but I could be wrong about that.
It blends nicely with the previous art, so like I don't worry about that too much.
Black Hammer, Spiral City #2 from Dark Horse Comics, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Teddy Christensen. In this issue, a bunch of different things are going on in Spiral City, who now hates superheroes and mutants and things like that. Inspector Insector?
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, oh my gosh. Inspector Insector is trying to set up a shingle in Spiral City and investigate some mysteries. Meanwhile, another dude is looking for a job, and some other stuff is going down as well. I really like the tone of this book. This sort of feels like literally Tales of the City, where you just have a bunch of different things going on, people living their lives. I don't know if they're ever going to come together in any way.
I bet they will.
But great.
Shouts to the name Concretestador, the character who we follow in a bit of this book. I was talking about this earlier with like books that are adjacent to the sort of known superhero universes. This is so good. It follows its own path in such a strong way. Makes choices that you like. I following a family man made out of concrete who has to go to a superhero fight club to make money, which is, again, a regular job in most superhero universes.
Yeah, it's a regular job.
But, man, this is really working for me.
Now, Justin, you were talking about something earlier in the stack, and you said you wanted to mention something when we got to this. Did you do that?
Yes, I literally just said it. I was talking about how these super teams that are right.
Well, I just wanted to make sure. I'm sorry if I...
No, you highlighted it, Pete. You did, but you clearly weren't listening to a word of it.
That's not true.
So shouts to that.
Yeah, shouts to half listening. Cool cover.
Sorry to interrupt, Pete. Justin, before Pete, you go. Justin, there was something you wanted to say earlier about Black Hammer, Spiral City. I don't remember what it was, but do you want to bring that up now?
Yes, I was going to say this went from south to mouth for me.
Oh, man.
It started at south?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
It's like a human centipede situation. You know what I'm talking about. I'm going to put that south in my mouth.
Yeah, Human Centipede, the guy who does that in the movie, is a comic book reviewer.
Anyways, great cover.
Everyone, each human in the Centipede is a comic book podcaster. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's true.
Love the Inspector. Anytime he's on in the comic, I get very excited. And I loved his line where he's like, "Hey, Kappa." Just fun. Just great art. Enjoy the story and the sad twists and turns that it's taking.
Should we do that? A Human Centipede.
I knew what you meant.
No.
As soon as you said it, I knew what you meant.
No.
We rarely see each other.
You two
we're going to see each other in New Orleans in January.
This is a great time to announce or talk about our New Orleans show where we'll be down there human centipeding at the...
No, we will not.
Live on stage.
Feel free to join in. A 3-person centipede is not enough centipede.
Well, it's going to be a 2-person centipede because I am not joining.
That's just somebody sucking somebody else's butt.
You can be at the front. Yeah, that's not a centipede.
That's not a centipide. You need to look at some
number?
pictures of centipedes.
Pete, you've done this before. What's the smallest number you need for a human centipede? Is it like 5?
They do
Fantastic
3 in the first
Four,
movie,
number
and then he
27.
amps it up in the second. Okay, sure. Fantastic Four. I think you could do it with 4, probably. Fantastic Four, number 27 from Marvel, written by Ryan North, art by Stephen Cummings. In this issue, the Thing's daughter, who is a Skrull, steps up and takes center stage. She just wants to be herself and use her shape-changing powers, takes it a little too far, and then per the cover, the Mole Man appears. Another great issue of Fantastic Four.
Ryan North just doesn't miss. We've talked about every issue of this series from number 1, and I don't think, ever had a negative thing to say about it. This is primetime Fantastic Four storytelling that it doesn't feel repetitive because we highlight different characters, we pair different characters together. This, a character that we sort of barely know, and we find a great, poignant story with some great action to tell about her. Just great. Fantastic.
Also, glorious cover here, and I love Mole Man. It's always great to see Mole Man. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this more than other issues. It was great kind of focus on one character here as her rise to glory. So yeah, this was a ton of fun and really well executed.
Pete, you have some experience with this. How many moloids do you need to make a human centipede?
They do that naturally. They're underground already.
That's how they eat, like earthworms. It just goes through.
Batman and Robin, year 1, number 3.
Keep going. From DC Comics, written by Mark Waid, art by Chris Samney. In this issue, Batman and Robin are, wit's end is probably too strong, but a little flummoxed by the mystery of the new villain who has come to Gotham City, and things amp up in a big way by the end of the issue. They're both in some serious danger. Pete, I think you were pretty psyched for this one, so take it away.
Yes, this is really just kick-ass. I love the relationship that we're dealing with here and the stakes. You know, you got a young Robin out here making mistakes, could cost Batman his life. I'm worried because I don't know if, the Batman character continues after this. You know what I mean? DC could be in real trouble here. But amazing art, amazing action. It's stressful, but really well done.
He's a tornado in sweatpants, Alfred says, and that's what I feel about each of us.
Wow.
This comic is great. There's something about Mark Waid and Chris Samney. They're a great partnership. Anything they touch. We mentioned Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale from earlier on. This feels like, if you like that stuff, maybe this is the book you should be reading for a modern version of that.
Deep, man.
There you go. The Power Fantasy number 5 from Image Comics, written by Kieran Gillen, art by Casper Wingard. In this issue, there's a bunch of stuff going down. The focus is on Heavy, I think the character's name is.
Mr. Magus?
Okay. Jackie Magus? Magus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we are following up on the action of the previous issues while still jumping back in time and finding out a little bit more about him and his pyramid of assholery. I really like this book a lot. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. It's love the art. Fun take on cults and pyramid schemes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, sometimes a guy who does a lot of drugs in an airplane is the president.
Yeah, truth. This just is doing, and we talked to Kieran and Casper back at New York Comic Con, and this just keeps ringing true with every issue. Like, this book is looking backward and forward at the same time in a really compelling way, creating some great history, building tension on both ends. We're like, look, it's like a human centipede. We're looking back at some really exciting stuff that is like, we're learning about how this world was built.
Sorry, do you think the front part of the human centipede is often looking back at the other parts? Because I feel like if I was in the human centipede, I'd be like, whatever I do, don't look back.
Interesting, you always look forward.
Everything's normal.
Yeah. You think it's just like, oh, it's just me and my buddy sucking ass. And you're like, wait, there's another person here?
Just me and my buddy.
Wow. Well, the second and third one, at the very least, are a little focused. Like, they're not turning around because they can't turn around. Because their mouths are sewed to the butt.
I've never seen the movie, so I don't know how this happens, but I feel like, yes, we all know what the middle of a human centipede looks like. But the beginning and end is it sort of like, all right, guys, everybody get together, get your spots. Okay, I'm going to count you down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you're 27. Yeah. Bummer.
I don't know if are you saying somebody's clapping for them to get them in line, or they're clapping?
Yes.
Because I feel like you can't do a lot of clapping or you risk ripping the butt out with your mouth.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. And when do you think it ends? Is there a timer, or is it just sort of like, all right, let's wrap it up?
I did it for an hour once. It wasn't cheap, but
it was worth it.
It was worth it, yes.
Worth every penny.
It really helped with
Vicarious number 3.
Oh, you want to live vicariously through
this conversation?
Anything else?
Vicarious number 3 from Boom Studios, written by Ryan Parrott, art by Eleonora Carlini. In this issue, our dude, who is a proxy, meaning people can hang out in his brain while he does stuff, and sometimes they tell him to do stuff, finds the noose is tightening around him in a couple of different aspects. I'm really enjoying this series. There's a lot of good mysteries going on here. The world of proxies is very weird and intriguing. The more details that they add into it and the more ways they show how it works. Really like the series a lot.
Well, and I think we sort of made a little wish in the last issue to get more of that world and more of the sort of proxy of the week almost. And I think we got a little bit of that here at the same time, building a little bit of tension without going off on a bunch of stuff that feels outside of this central story.
Yeah, I think this is, first off, crazy ending. Yeah, I mean, we kind of roll with the proxy here. Fantastic art. Love the kind of sharpness and the future feeling that sets a nice tone. This is kind of an intense idea, but something we've seen before, but I think it's done in an interesting way here.
Jenny Sparks, number 5 from DC Comics, written by Tom King, art by Jeff Spokes. After, in this issue, we're once again following 2 timelines. The present timeline, quote unquote, finds Jenny Sparks admitting to the one hostage she freed from Captain Atom that she can't beat him, and she wants his help to figure out how to do that. Meanwhile, in the past, she's teaming up with Superman and Batman right around 2016, let's say around election time, and dealing with some things around there.
You mean Clark and Matches?
Yes, Clark and Matches. I think, I don't want to speak for everybody. I think I appreciate the ambition of this series, but have been a little down on it just because it's been unclear what the direction is. I'm not clear on the direction here, but at least there is a little bit of lightness in the interactions with Superman and Batman that diffuse at least a little bit of that tension. And I don't know, it feels like we're getting towards an ending here in this issue. So I'm a little more back on board.
Interesting. I like this, I think, more than you. The art is great. I don't know Jeff Spokes, but man, it's such a fun, clean panels all throughout here. You could tell the care, especially the care that goes into the Superman Batman stuff. It feels like just really beautiful splash pages getting here. I think maybe, Alex, is it the coyness that's bothering you, where it feels like we're spoiling for a fight that between Captain Atom and Jenny Sparks, that Jenny's sort of like, I'm going to lose here. So it feels a little hard to get swept up in the story. Is that what you're thinking?
It's not about the superheroics, because there's secrets that Tom King is holding on to probably until the last issue.
Yes.
And that comes pretty clear in terms of him laying out this history of Captain Atom and how it ties in here. There are pieces left out. When we get those pieces, I think it's hopefully going to be clear what he's talking about and what he's doing. But I think coy, that was the word that you used, is correct. It's frustrating to read that with that coyness, because it feels like, I've got a secret and I'll tell you later. And I want to enjoy it, and I want to enjoy the theme that he's dealing with, but it's not really coming together until you tell me that secret.
Yeah, I mean, we're 5 issues in here, and it's still just a lot of kind of talking heads and her smoking and being, kind of, I mean, the Matches fun is cool. I mean, making fun of Bruce Wayne and his Matches persona is kind of fun in this issue, but that's 5 issues in of like a slog of like, what's going on? We don't have enough information. The art's unbelievable, but just because you have superheroes in it doesn't mean that I'm going to be like enjoying myself, because I I don't know enough about Jenny to care about her or to think she's great or whatever. Like, I guess if you're into chain smoking, maybe you immediately like her, but I don't know. I just think that, like, we're not getting enough to have any fun, and we're 5 issues in, and this reveal better be fucking amazing to make up for all this.
It often is with Tom King.
Yeah. The Moon is Following Us, number 4 from Image Comics by Daniel Warren Johnson and Riley Rosmo. The cliffhanger at the end of the last issue is that...
Spoilers.
Sure, that was a month ago. 2 parents who have gone into their child's dream to try to wake her up found the grandmother is inside there and seems to be the one pulling all the strings. We still don't know quite why or how by the end of this issue, but things have amped up, particularly in terms of the action. And I personally think I've gotten a very clear indicator of what might actually be going on here, though, again, I won't spoil it or anything like that.
Oh, me too. I'd love to see what your thoughts are.
I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it. Anyway, right. Great art, great writing, a little less of a emotional gut punch than the last issue, but still really, really good.
Yeah.
Pete?
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I mean, the art's unbelievable. I love the imagination of this. This is kind of like, I'm interested to see what's really going on because the kind of fantasy of what's happening is very intense, and we're really ramping it up in this issue, and we kind of get set up for the final battle, which makes me think of the final countdown, and that song starts playing in my head. So yeah, I just think that this is very exciting. Love what's happening here. Also fun moment where it's like, hey, you read X-Men comics, let's do a little fastball special over here, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is a blast. It's really high stakes, and it's clearly about how parents have these kind of rules for their children, but then when they drop them off at grandma's house and she can do anything she wants, eat all the candy she wants, and then never wants to go back home to the parents because she's having such a blast at grandma's.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of this. I think the art's fantastic. I'm getting like reference points to Chrono Trigger, the video game from back in the day with the little frog guy who's helping out. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with the sort of going in and out of different realms mentally here. So like there's a lot of elements here, and yes, I think we are moving into the first 2 issues felt a little spare, and this one I feel like has more story in it.
Well, you guys are parents. How often do you have to jump into your children's dreams to save them?
All the frickin' time.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm like a Freddy Krueger to my kids.
That's the opposite. That's not saving them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I
Do you
have
have
a
the
big
glove?
knife hand? Yeah.
You got it. If you're going to say you're Freddy Krueger, you better have a knife hand. I mean, go on.
But they're butter knives.
Come on. Oh, because you're buttering their bread. I use that. I got one of those from Williamson, one of those Freddy Krueger buttering gloves.
Yeah, great product tie-in. Butter 5 toasts at once, they said.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have? You need 5.
Less now. Power Rangers Prime, number 2 from Boom Studios, written by Melissa Flores, art by Michael Igg. We actually missed the first issue of this, but I was curious to check out the second one. Anyway, the idea is it's set in a future where there's no Power Rangers, and one Power Ranger has shown up. So this is very much a rebooted continuity here.
Not no Power Rangers, one Power Ranger.
One Power Ranger showed up, and she has been semi-adopted by a group of kids who know a lot about Power Rangers. Also, Rita Repulsa has shown up.
Oh, boy.
Tell you what, she's not looking Repulsa, if you know.
Alex, what the fuck?
Alex is
more like Rita
Hubba.
Oh, what happened?
Rita Wooga Wooga.
What
right?
are you
Come on,
doing, man?
Whose side are you on now?
Yeah.
And that may be part of the story.
She's going to turn into a monster eventually, man. What is your thought process?
We get sort of a secret origin of Bulk here in this new timeline.
Yeah.
I mean, this had me thinking, like, does this have to be a Power Ranger story? It feels like this is just a story that is that could just be going on, because it does feel like a little bit like an Ultimate Power Rangers, to use the Marvel Ultimate Universe thing, where it's like, hey, what if Rita was a hot person for Alex? That's the dream that's been unlocked.
Every Rita has been a hot person, okay? Just to be clear.
Wow.
Okay,
that's great.
Another
You
great
got
take.
a thing for women named Rita. That's fun. Yeah, I think this
Lovely
is
Rita Repulsa Mita. Maybe.
okay. Yeah, this is fun and really impressive art. Love the story. Feels very kind of Power Rangers in a fun way. And then you got the dog whose name is Doobie. I mean, that's hilarious and fun last panel. So I thought this was a blast.
I like this. I like the idea of having Rangers taken out of the world and then they have to fight their way back in and everybody has to be inspired by that. I think that's a good place for any sort of hero story. So I'm curious to see where this goes going forward. Nightwing 121 from DC Comics, written by Dan Waters, art by Dexter Soy. In this issue, Nightwing is, well, he's dealing with a lot of stuff. There is a new weapons manufacturer who is working out of Bloodhaven, and he's grappling with her on two ends, both the Nightwing end and in terms of being Dick Grayson billionaire. And meanwhile, he is finding out a lot more about the gang, the Teddies, who are giant teddy bear people.
Night, Teddies.
Nice Teddies. What'd you guys think?
I mean, there was only one real teddy bear, so it was weird that they all went by Teddies, because clearly not all of them are like teddy bears.
That's their gang name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought another badass issue. It was nice that after Dick Grayson punched a couple of them in the face, that then they talked it out. But, nice if he would have talked it out first. But, this is continues to be a blast.
You know, the previous run on Nightwing was so big and epic and lauded. It's hard to take over a book like that. And what I like about this is it is taking Nightwing into a darker universe. It feels almost like a Daredevil run, where someone's new taken over and found a new sort of corner to investigate in the Nightwing universe. And I do think it's starting to find its footing, so I'm going to stick with it.
Stick with it. I agree. I think this really hit its groove in this issue, so I'm excited to check it out going forward. The Rockefellers, number 2 from Ghost Machine and Image Comics, written by Peter J. Tomasi, art by Francis Manipool. This issue, per the cover, the Rockefellers, our time-lost family, try to celebrate Christmas, and it goes spectacularly wrong in a goofy manner. I think we generally liked the first issue, but weren't like over the moon about it. Are you now over the moon? Or under the moon, as we always say on the show.
Or between the moon and New York City. When your Christmas tree comes to life, it's a problem. We get that here. This book feels like it is a combination of Fantastic Four, Power Pack, maybe a little Challengers of the Unknown. It's a nice family story we're getting here. Excuse me, that has some of the bones of the Ryan North Fantastic Four run that we talked about a minute ago. But it's bookended by some really dark, sort of scary stuff coming for them, and dealing with some heavier themes. There was the grandmother was died. She died in the previous issue, and that's sort of weighing on the family. And I think that's
weighing on a lot of us.
Yeah, you miss her.
I do. I have that written in my notes. I miss Grandma, and it was hard to see her in this issue. And I still can't believe they killed her.
The grandma in the book, not actual grandma, right, Pete?
That's right. Yeah, let's
you
not
don't
get
miss
that
actual grandma.
Well, I do miss my actual grandmother, but that's beside the point. I think we all miss grandmothers in general. But this one's kind of feels like a Lorax issue where it's all about saving the trees, man. You got to save the trees. Don't go to a Christmas tree farm and then want to cut down trees. That's crazy talk.
Yeah.
This is adorable family fun, but with the dark edge of killing your grandmother in the first issue, which is hard to get behind.
All right, Star Trek number 27 from IDW, written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, art by Mike Fien and Tess Fowler. At the end of the last issue, the crew of the Theseus found themselves back in the regular Star Trek universe. Unfortunately, Lore had destroyed everything. They were the only things left. In this issue, they find out that's not quite true. They found one galaxy very far away and try a delicate maneuver to get themselves back. It's going to take a while, though, so in the meantime, we get a crew just hanging out and bonding issue for the most part. I thought this was great. A great, just character-driven issue, particularly for Cisco. I also give a shout out to base at his baseball. I thought it was beautifully drawn and laid out, and without spoiling too much, the switch in art styles by the end of the issue really floored me as well. I'm very impressed.
This feels like the middle of a great episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. You know, where like the what's happening is out there, and you're settling into the characters, figuring out how they're relating to each other, how they're going to solve the bigger problem. And I agree with you, Alex. Really good.
This continues to be a great Star Trek comic, and I think does a lot of good things as far as like taking characters and showcasing them in different ways and kind of mixing things up. Yeah, super impressive. This continues to be fantastic.
The Question, All Along the Watchtower, number 2 from DC Comics, written by Alex Segura, art by Sian Torme. In this issue, we're picking up after the end of the last, where one of the challengers has seemingly been murdered, and the Question has to find out why and why they are framing her for the murder. Also, per the cover, the Eradicator enters as well, which seems like a big foe for the Question to be facing. We were pretty high on the first issue. Did the second issue hold up to those high standards?
I continue to get high on this issue. Be high, just flying, you know? Loose, crazy. Alex Segura is really meticulous in his plotting and storytelling. I like all the different characters. Like introducing the Eradicator here is such a fun addition. He is drawn in a intense way that I like. I like the Blue Beetles are part of this. I like the Batwoman connect between her and Question. Just a lot of disparate elements, seemingly disparate elements, pulled together really well.
Yeah, I wish we could have talked to Alex Segura about this book. It's too bad. This is fun. I'm a huge fan of The Question. And we got 80s Superman here with his shades looking like he's all 80s out. So it's going to be a fun mystery to solve. I'm looking forward to more.
Who do you think did it?
Oh.
I said Ted Cord, Blue Beetle, the last issue.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I'm still sticking with it for no particular reason.
I feel like I think we did talk to Alex, and he was like any great mystery, the answers are right in front of you. So It's definitely something there, but I don't know. I need another clue. I need another issue.
It's got to be the evil Superman, right?
Yeah. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 5 from IDW, written by Jason Aaron, art by Derek Robertson. First 4 issues have been focusing in squarely on one of the Turtle brothers. Here we return to New York City and focus on the new villain, the mayor of New York City. Too real, folks. Too real. Too real. And meanwhile, Casey Jones comes right towards him.
Come on, Casey
heading
Jones.
Towards a climactic showdown towards the end of the issue. Another great issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I thought Derek Robinson drawing some phenomenal stuff throughout here. This book has been an incredible artistic showcase every issue out of the gate, and this one is no exception. But what did you guys think?
Great cover. As I say to all of them, I thought this was a fantastic cover. Anyway, Pete, do you have some other stuff to say? Or, there's no way you were going to say that also. So
yeah, definitely not. We got a kind of intense bad guy who's a puppet for the Foot Clan here. Better not, spoilers, but they better not have killed Casey Jones. Great to see Rocksteady and Bebop. That was just glorious. More of this, please, on all fronts. Love the art, love the writing. I just want to spend more time here.
If he is dead at the end of the issue, do you think they'll keep him around until he rots and then he'll just be a skeleton and they call him Casey Bones?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Wow, that was a long
Or
way
how
to
about
go
this?
for that.
P, if he dies here, could just another person pick up a hockey stick or whatever and do this stuff?
Oh, how dare you? You think anybody could just pick up a hockey stick and be Casey Jones? Is that what you think?
Another guy can spend like 150
Who's
bucks
good
a
at
disc.
all using all of the sports weaponry? Come on, dude.
He's good at a hockey stick and a basketball? Amazing. He's a hero.
And don't forget the baseball bat. That's super important.
Baseball bat's just a thicker hockey stick, so pretty
I don't know exactly. Like, they haven't spoiled what happens with Casey Jones, but the solicit for issue 6 does say, introducing your next new favorite character, Dick's Sporting Goods guy.
Wow.
I think that's a great product tie-in.
Don't shoot holes in my fucking childhood, you asshole.
I'm
Only
almost
with a
got
hockey
home.
puck, man. Only with a hockey puck.
I just pucked your childhood, Pete.
Yeah, stop pucking my
Great
childhood.
issue. Love Derek Robertson's use of perspective in this in particular. And moving on, Titans number 18 from DC Comics, written by John Layman, art by Pete Woods.
Nowhere to hide.
Yep, we have been a little back and forth about this title, but in this issue, the team takes on a new villain. I'm completely blanking about what happened to this issue. What happened to this issue, guys?
It's because this issue feels like a number 1. This could easily be sort of a reset issue here, and I think that's really fun. Like, I like all of the characters. Everyone's sort of operating here. If you haven't been reading this is a great jumping on point right here, right now.
Did they change artists on this as well? It felt like this is...
No. Pete Woods was on the first 2 issues. I'm remembering now, I did really like the fact that they are so tied to the T theme that their underground lair is also a T.
And I love just a great look at the underground there. Great stuff.
But it's a lowercase t, get it? Because it's underneath.
Bury that T.
Casey Bones.
Oh, boy. Just calling that back? Just being like, oh, all right.
Until it catches on, man. Star Trek Lower Decks, number 2 from IDW, written by Ryan North, art by Derek Charm. In this issue, our Lower Deckers end up at an alien planet from back in the original Star Trek series days with an alien race who wants them to fight their mentors, who are characters from throughout Star Trek history. Another great issue of this title. I thought this was so fun and funny and so steeped in Star Trek lore, particularly with the show proper ending this week. The finale is on Thursday, I want to say. It's great to know this title will continue because it perfectly captures the tone of it. Love all of Ryan North's little notes at the beginning. Derek Charm is the perfect artist. What fun.
Shouts to Ryan North. Just continues to deliver. The added jokes just keep me coming back.
Yeah, I mean, if you love the cartoon, this does such a great job of bringing it to life in the comic book in such a great way. It feels like it's written by the same team almost. It's just such a great execution of bringing one from one medium to the other. And yeah.
And there you go. That's it for the stack. If you'd like to support this podcast and all the podcasts we do, patreon.com/comic book club. Also, we do a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. to Facebook and YouTube. Come hang out. We would love to chat with you about comic books. Apple, Spotify, Android, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow the show at Comic Book Live on Twitter, Comic Book Club on Blue Sky, Comic Book Club Live on TikTok and Instagram, comicbookclublive.com. For this podcast and many more, until next time, we'll see you at the Comic Book Club.
Guys, I just Googled human centipede. I fucked up. I shouldn't have said that. And
Yeah,
we
you
should have talked
shouldn't have.
about that for so long.
Yeah, you
Too late. I already signed the contracts.
What? I didn't sign anything.
See you in New Orleans.